before we dive in, I want to make something clear. I am not a trained therapist or counsellor in any way, shape or form. Still worth the journey. Glad that you're all here. And on today's episode, we've got my favourite person, or one of my favourite people in the world.
I feel like you should not be saying that considering you have a wife and kids. I feel like that. I appreciate what you're saying there, but I feel like maybe like there should be other people. You know, your mum. But I do like that.
Yeah, yeah. Look, people on this podcast...
Do you want to retract that statement? Do you want to walk it back a little bit?
Okay, so out of 10 people, he is definitely one of those people that I really do enjoy. He's a fellow trucker, and he goes by the name of Tom. And some of you watching this may have already seen some of his videos because he has quite a... Well, we used to, but I'll let him get into that. Anyway, without further ado, here is Mr. Tom, or Big Daddy.
Hello, sir. How the hell are you doing?
I'm all good, a bit tired.
Yeah. If you're listening to this and you're like, these guys sound a bit... If you're following me from what I tend to do, and like you listen to Jammer and you're like, there's a weird energy going on. It is 6:30 in the morning on a Saturday. This is just the time that we're doing this. Roll with it. It's fine. It's fine. I don't know. It's all good. This is what we're doing.
It is. And as you can see as well, I've got some fishes in the background because Mr. Tom, technical man, helps me out. Get this?
I don't know about technical.
Welcome to the new settings, Mr. Wavy Hand Man. Can you do your wave there, Tom? Can you do?
Right. Well, we'll do it here so it doesn't completely escape it. The illusion's ruined over here.
I know, we have to kind of squeeze it in like sideways.
And for those people listening, just roll with it. It's all good. There's fish and there's like pretty things in the background.
Yeah, it's relaxing.
I'm drinking at Greg's. I've already been to Greg's this morning. That's how my addiction rolls.
What time was that?
Honestly, it was like 5:45. I was in Greg's this morning.
I bet you've got one of those membership cards, like the OBE ones, Sir Tom.
I would love one of them the black Greg's cards. That'd be so fucking good. That'd be so fucking good.
Well, my mate messaged me the other day, and he showed me this thing that he's got in WhatsApp. Now, I don't know how legit this is, but it's a Costa Coffee bean stamp. You can get the card. Stamp. Free coffee, please.
Yeah, that's what they did. Oh, he's actually got a bean stamp.
He's got a bean stamp.
No.
And he's a truck driver. I don't know how he's got hold of this. It's an actual Costa bean stamp.
I wonder if he's used a 5-finger discount on the stamp. That's such a clever idea.
Yeah. I don't know if he got it from Amazon, you know. But he's got a bean stamp.
That sounds like it might have to be a present for my for Mrs. Birthday. Also, she doesn't like me calling her Mrs.
Yeah, what a great idea.
Yeah.
Free coffee all year round. We're truck drivers. We should be allowed a free coffee to keep us safe on the road.
Well, sometimes, is it Moto? They do like Moto, a free coffee for us. Although it's always hanging in Moto. Don't want to go to Moto.
No, I quite like Moto because it's free.
I know it's not. If you have any international listeners who are like, "What's Moto?" Just imagine like the worst services possible, and then like, do you like actually just imagine that the services that the characters from a horror film stop at. And like it kind of sets up the kind of scariness of the rest of the film. That's Moto. That's basically what it is. But it has Greg, so there's always that. Fuck it, I don't know.
So going off that, right? There's very high standards there for Tom on the old service station. So what service station would you say is your deluxe? It's like, yeah, that's my go-to.
I don't know.
Well, you put yourself into
used to be EG, but like I know EG because my fiance now works for EG. And they're not great employers. They're not great. Like, yeah, she didn't ever get like paid time and a half Christmas Day when she worked.
Oh no, that's not.
Yeah, it's bad. Yeah, exactly.
And we love your missus as well. She's absolutely brilliant. We won't mention her on air because we don't know what any people are like. We know there's some people out there that go looking around things.
She's been on the podcast, you dickhead. Am I allowed to swear on this podcast?
Yeah, you can. It's all right. I feel like I'm still on the Jack TP, So yeah, she has been on here, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
She has actually been on here. She's been on here with Ellen, and she was talking about her story of agoraphobia, and in hope to get other ladies out there to find the strength to get out the door basically and find life again.
She has
was
got
an amazing
crazy amounts of strength. She has.
Yeah, she's brilliant. She's absolutely brilliant.
She
Especially
genuinely impresses me. Like she genuinely impresses me.
Yeah, well, there's a few female listeners that actually messaged in about her saying it was their favourite episode.
Was it really? Oh,
yeah.
I
Really
like
inspired.
That.
It's on Apple as well. They've left an Apple review on the actual Apple podcast for the episode.
I'll have to get that sent over to her.
Yeah.
Shall we talk about trauma and all of that stuff now?
I wake up to all this. Sorry to the guys in America, because I know for you, it's obviously like, 5 hours, 6 hours behind. So for you, it's still about 11 o'clock at night. But yeah, we have just woken up. This is literally fresh coffee. Yesterday, it was Red Stripe.
It was, yeah. We've literally come off the back of recording another podcast, gone to sleep, and woken up and immediately started another podcast. Yeah, that's what we do. So that's our rock and roll lifestyle. Let's bring it.
Well, they do say, don't they? If you want to become something, you have to eat, sleep, and drink it. So that's what we're doing.
That's true. That's true. Doesn't work. I can guarantee you that.
The right energy will get us there. But yeah, look, to any listeners out there, I'm sorry about today's energy. This is how it's going to be. Hopefully you stick with us. Because there will be some banter throughout, because that's what we're allowed. I feel guilty all the time for laughing about things, because I'm like, oh, hold up, I suffer with things. Look, laughing, you can laugh. You can laugh. We all have our bad days or whatnot, but don't ever feel guilty about laughing, because that's the goal. We want to be in that position where we're in a happy state. And me with Tom all the time, he always makes me happy. And I urge anybody out there that are suffering, go and find yourself that guy, that girl, that person that can bring the best out in you and can really amplify your ups. And when you're low, you can call them at a moment's grace, and they will flip your mindset around and hopefully get you on a better track. So, Tom, I will say that for you, mate. Thank you for being there for me throughout.
Thanks, man.
You've been there through the ups and downs when I've cried.
Well, you say that, apart from the times that you don't fucking call me when you're having a down, and you just ignore my messages, and I have to send you like 15, and then eventually oh, sorry, I was going through a bad spot. I'm like, so why didn't you say anything? I don't want to bother you. What the fuck are you doing? Jammer, you dickhead.
We literally preached that on here as well. I told people reach out.
It's really bad, isn't it?
It's
Practice
hard.
What you preach.
Yeah, it is hard to reach out to people at certain times. And to be fair, you were away, you were getting engaged, and in my head, the last thing you want to hear is, "Oh, it's Jermaine again. He's having a problem."
I will say it is. I think we're all a little bit hypocritical, because it's something that I do. I'll say to Kale, but then I will sit there and suffer quietly, and then eventually she'll be like, what's actually up? And I'm like explaining there's this, and this. So why? I don't know. Sometimes it's like reaching out. It is like the hardest part, isn't it? And actually kind of saying.
Well, you start to think, don't you? You're like, this is real. The minute you speak it becomes real. And I think that's the thing that most of us are scared about, is making it a real thing. You're admitting to it. Like one time when I was a kid, I remember this. I was going to the shop to buy dog food for my mum. Not for my mum, but for the dog.
Yeah, that feels a bit weird, but yeah.
And as I was walking back through the jitty, or the alleyway, a lad come up to me and punched me in the lip. For no reason, just a random hit. He had 3 lads with him, and I was on my own, little Jermaine, with some dog food, and I got punched in the mouth. Nothing. I walked home, sorted. The minute I got in my house, and my mum noticed my thick lip, although they're already quite thick, but this was thicker from the punch. My mum said, "What's happened to you?" And I don't know what, but my lip went, and I started crying. I was like, oh.
Well, yeah, you got punched.
Yeah, but I didn't punch at the time. It was that moment of admitting that I got punched to my mother that made it real. And that's when the emotion took over. But at the time of the punch, I was fine. I was just like, that just happened. And you're getting dog food. But then when my mum realised the pain, she knew. And that's when I thought, basically it makes you more vulnerable. The minute you start opening up, it is hard to be open because of how vulnerable it makes you feel in the position that it puts you in.
kind of feel like I'm going to start at the end of my story, but I had so I was going to talk about my year of hell. I was going to talk about something I don't actually talk about, so we'll see how I deal with that. Might be good, might not be. Definitely trauma there, but like at the end of this bad day, and I'd been on this scene of this accident for hours by this point, and we've been laughing and we've been joking, we've been absolutely fine. And my boss called me up and he said, "You all right?" And I just broke down. I just broke down, and I was just fucking bawling like. And I said, I'll have to give you a call back in a minute here, lad, because I'm going to need a minute here. And I had to pull up on the bloody on this not okay to pull up section of a dual carriageway in an Arctic, but I couldn't. I had to just stop. Yeah. And yeah, it's when someone actually says to you, "Are you okay?" It's kind of like it's like almost like a lightning rod, isn't it?
It is like an eye of the needle. It's looking straight at your soul. It knows exactly what's happening, and it does. It puts you in a real vulnerable position.
It's quite a it's quite a powerful statement. I find as well when it's said in a certain, because I've had it where I'm trying to think what the situation was, but it was like a road rage incident, and this guy was out of his car, like fucking screaming at me. And
wow.
I was just looking at the guy, and like he was properly getting angry, and I'm just gonna let him shout for a second, and he stopped. I kind of just looked at him, and I just said to him, "Are you okay, mate?" And he just kind of like it really took him back. I don't think he was expecting me to, after being shouted at for a solid 30 seconds for something. I don't think he was expecting for this giant of a man to suddenly say, "Are you okay?" And like I could just tell it took him back. Like, and it was like, no. And he started saying about his mum and this, that, and the other. So listen, don't sweat it, mate. You're all good. Just get back in your car. We'll shake hands. We'll just move on. Forget it happened. You're all good, lad. And we shook hands. We got back in vehicles, and then that was that. It was done.
So you are, though, to be that level-headed in that situation.
Like, I don't want to deal with that stuff. That's like too heavy for me.
Yeah,
but still, had enough as it is.
But still, he was faced with you. It wasn't somebody else that may have turned the other way and made it this big, massive thing. So it's good that he had you there. You got a good level head on your shoulders. You always have done,
I don't know. I've definitely blown my top a couple of times. I'm not proud of some of this stuff. It is what it is.
That's human nature, isn't it? Sometimes it gets the better of us and we lose it. But then afterwards we regret it or whatever. We can't sleep because what we've done or what we may not have done. But our minds, the way they overthink and stuff, you always think
them cringe thoughts. Nothing worse than a cringe thought when you're like, why did I do that? Even though it was like 20 years ago, and it was like something that no one saw it, and you still have that cringe thought. You're like, that was so stupid. That was so fucking dumb.
It was. See, you've reminded me of something that I think the listeners might appreciate. Cringe thoughts. Anyway, your time in Rome. Was it Rome?
Oh, yeah. Are we talking about the foot incident? Fucking hell.
So Tom's done everything. Honestly, Tom blew me away with this. Go on, Tom. I'll let you say this.
So, this has got... I swear there's no trauma about this. It's just a funny story. Although, I will say, I can kind of appreciate how women feel getting pushed into, like, overtly sexual situations where you're very uncomfortable. But so I was running low on money when I was in Rome, and this is coming towards the end of my time there. And I was trying to find some other work because the work that I was doing was seasonal. So I was trying to find something for the winter months. And there was this American lad, and he said to me that he can get me some security work, like on the doors. Fucking hey, I'll do security, like bouncing basically. I can do that. So he said, come round to my apartment at like Via del, whatever it was. And so I was like, okay, yeah, that's fine. So I came around to his apartment, and like it was one of these ones where you have to press the buzzer and you walk up the steps. It's like these big marble floors, and he has this massive living room, huge living room with again marble floors, and he has like these two big sofas and a glass table. And when I walk in, there's money on the table, and so I walk up, and he sat there, and he goes, I'll be honest with you, I've brought you here under like false pretenses or something like that, he said. I was like, okay, right. Where's this going? And he goes, I was wondering if I could pay to worship your feet. And this is like a big marble room. So there is a kind of like, the silence echoes in a weird way. And there's this moment where like, I can either say something like, I can either be aggressive, or I can say yes, or I can do my usual thing and make a joke. So, it's me. I make a joke, and I'm like, you don't want to worship my feet, mate. They stink. He looks at me dead in the eye and he goes, oh no, that's better. I'm like, no, I think we'll leave it here. Thanks, mate. I'm gonna go. And so I just turned heel, never spoke to that guy again, never looked at him again. That was that. It was done. Yeah, that was it. Fucking.
But Tom's just done a wonderful thing. Haven't you, Tom?
Yeah.
He's
I
gave
was
a
here.
gift. He was
I
here.
gave the gift of YouTube.
He gave the gift of YouTube Premium to me. And thank you so much, Tom. Bottom of my heart, mate. Honestly, just the no ads will be absolutely amazing.
Oh my god,
fed up with them.
Ads can definitely fuck right off. So I went on my I can't remember. I went on a friend's account or someone. I can't remember who it was. I went to go on, and then that was it. I was showing him because he was asking about my YouTube channel.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, I'll show you it, and then I click on it. I'm like, ads. Oh fuck, there's ads. And then after the ad's finished, I'm like, oh, there's another ad. I'm like, oh shit. Is this what people have to watch when I watch my channel? I forget I've got YouTube.
Yeah. Honestly,
I don't have to deal with this shit.
The ads are so bad. Like I watch quite a lot of YouTube videos, and you're just getting into it, and it's like, hi, have you tried out the new razor? Oh, for God's sake.
I genuinely don't remember the last time I saw an advert. It's been so long. It's fucking...
Everything's streaming now, isn't it? That's why, like, your Netflix and up. But they've brought a new Netflix out now as well. It's like $4.99 a month, but you have to watch ads. And it's like, no.
Yes, the Prime. You have to watch, I think you've got to watch adverts on that now as well.
Yeah. Because adverts used to be a big thing, didn't they, on normal terrestrial TV, whereas now it just sort of stops. And I ain't seen ads, and I ain't seen live TV for the longest time. Actual live TV.
I'm waiting for the TV licensing people. I'm waiting for them to come around to my house because we don't have a TV license. We don't have a TV. Well, we have a TV in the living room, but it's not plugged into the TV line or whatever, or the aerial. I genuinely, I cannot remember the last time. Oh no, I do. The last time I watched TV when I was in Cyprus and they were streaming British TV out there, and I'm watching it. I'm like, oh god.
Do they need a
TV's
license
garbage.
out there to watch British TV or like BBC? It's only for BBC, isn't it?
For legal reasons, I'm not going to say jack all to that.
Hey, mate,
I suspect not, though.
What the fire sticks for, isn't it? I suppose.
Although having that said, that bloody TV licensing, I can imagine them still getting a trip out there just so they can get a TV license. Have you got your TV license?
Yeah,
no.
There was a guy who won him in court. You know, he took him to court. They didn't want to pay his TV license. Yeah, it was all in the papers a few years back, and he went to court. And because he physically doesn't watch any BBC program, he didn't have to pay it, and he won the case. But what BBC did was totally restrict his TV from ever receiving that channel. Same with BBC iPlayer. He weren't ever allowed to log into it. Maybe he could, be honest, just different email address, and he's in there.
Yeah, I don't know. Has he really won?
He won the case, yeah. Actually, like, literally.
Yeah, it's won the case, but if they've actually done something to his TV, he actually won?
We're taking that away from you then, sir. If you don't want to pay, we'll take it away.
That feels like just bitterness, doesn't it? Fuck me.
I mean, I'll pay 14 quid a month. isn't it? It's 14 quid a month. Yeah, it's
Is
quite
it?
expensive. Yeah, so it's 14 quid a month. I get Netflix for cheaper, but I still
Yeah.
have to pay this TV license at £14 a month just so my missus can watch EastEnders. It's like,
Oh
what
my
am I doing?
God.
I don't even watch BBC. I literally
No.
watch Netflix or Disney Plus because Disney Plus got my Marvels and my Star Wars and all that kind of thing. But
I have Paramount Plus because I get Star Trek.
See,
Hashtag love Star Trek.
yeah. What's
Don't care.
the?
Big
Is
nerd.
it that? What is it? I can't do it.
It's that.
Oh.
It's live long and prosper.
Yeah. So for those of you listening, if you watch the video, you'll see the sign. I don't know how to do it. I look like Mr. Krabs out of SpongeBob. How easy he does it.
I know how to do. Yeah, I know my Vulcans. Don't come at me, bro.
He does. So Tom, enlighten me, my friend. What's this this story that you've got that's traumatic?
So I didn't say traumatic. That was the police that said that it was a series of it was a series of like life-changing events or something like that. The police called it.
Wow.
It was basically a year where I decided to make changes in my life because I was unhappy in my marriage. I was deeply unhappy in my marriage, and I hadn't realised it. I'd resigned myself to, just plodding. I decided that we'd had kids together, and that was my life. And so the first one that had happened, and I actually got in the newspapers for this. In fact, not only did I get in the newspapers for this, I was on the front page of BBC News and Sky News. And
wow.
So I was traveling down the M56, and it was near Warrington. And do you know when something catches your eye as a truck driver? And I don't know, because you are a lot more observant when you're on the road as a truck driver, aren't you?
You're a lot higher up as well, aren't you? As well.
And so I'd seen there was someone on a bridge further down the motorway, and there was two people on either side of him looking at him, but the spacing was weird. I can't really explain it much more than just like it wasn't. Obviously, as a truck driver, you recognise patterns. Like you know when someone's going to swerve into your lane. You recognise there's a wobble that car's got, or you can tell when someone's going to do something silly. 9 times out of 10, you can tell because there's a pattern to stuff on the roads. This didn't fit the pattern. There was something wacky about it. And as I'm getting closer, I realise the lad is on the wrong side of the bridge, on the wrong side of the barrier.
Oh, like facing outwards.
So he's on the opposite side. He's on the other side, ready to jump off the bridge.
Okay. Well, okay.
And so I'm in a soft top tipper, and as I'm coming along, I'm looking at it, and I'm like, I realise I'm in a position to actually help here. So I kind of put my hazards on, put my beacons on, basically say I'm about to do something wacky here, and I stop kind of lane 1 hard shoulder, kind of on a bit on the hard shoulder, but just over into lane 1 a little bit, and I stop directly underneath him because the police are on either side of him, so he can't move towards them, and if he falls down now, he's going to fall on top of the truck.
Yeah,
because it's a big soft.
Like a tarp,
yeah, basically,
kind of material. Yeah.
So I've literally just put a trampoline underneath him essentially, and so I put so I kind of stop underneath there. I get out, and then I go up the embankment, and there's a cop there, and then this guy in full high vis just appears out of the undergrowth, and I say to him, "I've stopped underneath this lad," and he has appeared down the seas. And I then, because at that point there, I'm now like the only thing stopping him from hitting the tarmac. So I'm now there until they can actually talk him. Because the thing is, they can't. If you drag someone back over, they're just going to immediately go back out and just jump off again. You have to kind of willingly talk them back over, which is something I didn't really think of, to be honest with you. But you have to kind of like, it has to be something that decision that they make.
Yeah.
And so I'm just kind of, I'm just sat there on my phone, just waiting for like the negotiators to do their stuff. And like the thing was, so as when I parked there, and before, because the motorway was still running full traffic, the police hadn't had time to block the traffic by this point.
Yeah.
And someone had taken a picture of my truck underneath this bridge with the lad above it. Yeah, there's a picture of it. It circulated online. I'll see if I can put it up so you can put it in your podcast.
Yeah.
And there was all these news articles about like hero driver does this, hero driver saves boy. But the thing is, I didn't. I was like a part in the cog, but I disagree with hero, because the reality is, all I did was sit on my phone and just let them just do what they're doing. Like, it was the negotiators that got him back over. It was them people that actually did it all. All I did was park a truck. They sat there and like they actually talked to this lad for 4-5 hours or whatever it was. It was quite a while.
Yeah.
And they were the ones that actually did all the stuff. But the thing, I'll be honest here, that didn't really affect me, because I don't know. It's one of them things. What affected me was because the traffic was getting diverted around, and I was sat there and there was police directing it, and this van goes past, and one of the lads shouted at the van, "Just push the cunt off!" And I was just like, it was, I don't know, it was one of the moments where I was like, really?
You lose faith in human beings, don't you? At that moment,
that was like one of the moments where that genuinely, like, it genuinely upset me that someone could be that callous. And bearing in mind, this was a kid.
Yeah.
He was like 18, 19. He was a fucking child, really.
He's obviously going through a lot of stuff as well to find himself in that position.
Well, this is it. And some people said to me, "Oh, well, it's just that all he's doing is seeking attention." But
no, he's not.
No. But right, let's just say he's seeking attention. Yeah, the fact that he feels so lost in the world that the only way he feels he can get someone to give him some attention is to do something like that. Yeah, something's gone wrong somewhere. Something's gone very wrong somewhere. We have failed that child.
Yeah.
If that is the only way that he feels he can actually get some form of attention, or someone to come out and actually be kind to him, to speak to him in a nice way. If that is the only way that kid can fucking do that, we have let him down as a society. It's fucking disgraceful.
And the thing is, honestly,
it's fucking disgraceful.
Cements when you got drivers driving past as well like that, shouting obscenities like that as well to the kid, because then he's thinking, well, quite detrimental. But no, you are a hero, mate, because how many other drivers drove past and carried on?
Well, there was another one a few weeks later, and there was basically some other drivers stopped under a bridge and did exactly the same thing. I don't know, that was it was quite nice to see that, there was more drivers that actually did do something like that. It was, I don't know, it's nice to know that like some of these drivers, they are fucking, they will look out for each other.
Human beings, aren't we? At the end of the day, we should all have that spot. So, Ben, if I ever see a like that, I know a fellow truck driver that actually did. A guy ran out on him on the M1 at Christmas time, and my mate suffered that quite bad. And because what had happened, work colleagues then found out and started to call my mate a murderer. These were fellow truck drivers.
Yeah, it's fucking disgraceful.
It was really horrible for this guy. Now he's come to terms with what happened. The police have told him it's not your fault. the guy just decided to walk out. There's nothing. What could you do? You couldn't do anything. You're doing 56 along the motorway. It's night time because he's a night driver, and you just see this figure appear from the hard shoulder sort of side and walk straight out in front of the truck. But they don't really. It's quite detrimental on the person because you've got to now live with that for the rest of your life, thinking. Whereas I always picture it as my kids. That's my child, so I've got to try and do what I can to save somebody as well. And that's why I went for my level 2 in self-prevention and suicide prevention, because I want to try and help others as best I can. So for me, you are a hero because you did something about it. At that moment, Tom, you did something. You decided, I'm stopping here. I'm on a motorway. You're putting yourself at risk straight away as well, and others at risk. But at the same time, the priority is the young man up there. And you thought, at that time and moment, let's try and save him. And the police were with you as well, you know. I was on your side.
The reason why I disagree with you is because I think there's the idea that just doing the bare minimum is considered heroic is crazy to me. All I did was the absolute bare minimum. I was in a position to help, and all I did was just help. That's not heroic. That's just doing the fucking.
Well, think
bare
of it in a different light. Then think of it in a different light. You got one police officer this side. You've got him, and you got another police officer there. Both his sides are blocked. His other side is where? Down. Where are you? Positioned.
Oh no, I get that.
A safety net for this person. If you wasn't there, okay, and then the inevitable did happen. You did a great thing. I know you're humble. You're a very humble guy.
No, it's not. I did the bare minimum. The person that was actually a hero, was the person who actually talked him back over, because that was the most important part. Like forcing him to not jump just makes him just want to go and jump again. So in a way, all I did was just add a safety net for the officer, just kind of to help him to do his job, the negotiator. The only thing I was a bit gutted about was the fact that it doesn't say negotiator on the back of his vest on the officer. I thought, because they were saying they were waiting for the negotiator to come, and he just came in jeans and t-shirt.
Yeah, you expect like the Americans where they got
negotiator
on the
back.
back.
It was going to say negotiator on the back. No, just some guy in jeans and t-shirt. I think he might have had a vest on underneath. And I was just like, genuinely, I was expecting something cooler.
Yeah.
I mean, he was very cool, but still, don't know.
To be fair, though, you do want... If I was in that position, I would like somebody to be dressed the same as me as well, actually, because I might be able to relate a little bit easier to someone dressed in everyday clothes.
Don't get me wrong. He's completely right, and I actually did say that to him, and that's exactly what he said. But I still wanted it to say negotiator. I still wanted it to come like with like aviators and have to take them off and go, let's save some lives. You know, I wanted that, basically.
Samuel L. Jackson moment, or Kevin Spacey.
Basically. Yeah, maybe not Kevin Spacey.
No, not now.
Let's not let Kevin Spacey near a child. That's not a good idea. No. That's not something we should be doing.
But no, so I'll give it to you then. You might not see it as a heroic, but I think teamwork made the dream work on that particular day, and I think you're all heroes for being in the right place at the right time to help that young man. Do we know anything about the young man? Has anybody kept in touch with you to see the progress of this guy?
His mum reached out to me and let me know that he was okay, but beyond that, I don't really know. I've not really heard much. I think that's probably that's with a lot of these. I think that's probably the hardest part is the not knowing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that time and moment, and then you've had the mother as well getting touch. So that's good.
Yeah.
What was it like? Did it hit home when you find yourself in the paper the next sort of week or two ago or whatever, or whenever it come out?
Yeah, it got crazy actually. It got wild. So I just sent you a link. That one's in Cheshire. Which, as you know, that makes sense because it was in Cheshire. But like there was so many of them. Yes, that's Cheshire Live.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
I've no idea how to put this in the podcast for the listeners, but yeah, there is a picture here of Tom with his truck in the Actros, good old Actros with the long steps. Hailed hero, yeah. So a quick thinking lorry driver has been hailed a hero after parking his truck under a bridge that a distressed man was threatening to jump off. Tom, he was only young yourself, bud. 35 at the time.
It creeps ever close to that 40.
So it does. I'm 40 next year. I think we're the same age, aren't we? 38? You're 38?
And I'm not next year. I'm the year afterwards. You old bastard.
Oh, yeah. I'm old. That's brilliant. No, honestly, I'm really proud of you. That is something. I'll tell you what I'll do, guys. I'll put the link of this in the show notes. So if you did want to go and check out the heroic Tom, even though he don't call himself heroic,
no,
I will let you guys decide. I think he is. I think for his quick thinking, if that was my son up there and I had Tom there, I'd be forever in his debt for doing what he's done, as well as the negotiator without the shades and the police officer.
He was the one that actually did the fucking work, wasn't he?
Yeah. But you did as well. I think it was you needed to all be there. It had to be in that way.
It was. I'll agree. There was good teamwork. It was good synergy. It was good team synergy. Guys.
Yeah.
The crazy part was the fact that I didn't actually tell anyone. That picture. There's a picture of I don't know if I can find the actual picture that someone took from a van.
It was like a passerby, wasn't like
I didn't tell anyone about this. I told my at the time wife.
Yeah,
and that was it. That's the only person I really told. I think I might have said something on we had a chat group at the time, and I think I might have said something on there, but it's that's all it was. Some passerby put it on Facebook, and then someone had recognised my truck, despite the fact it was just a white Actros with no writing on it, but recognised it and was like, "This is except for access," and then. It was that afternoon that BBC Radio Cumbria, the BBC News had got in touch with me. And then because BBC News got in touch with me and I was from Cumbria, BBC Radio Cumbria got in touch with me. And then it just spread like wildfire. It was crazy.
How do they get your credentials, like these pics? I've always wondered that. How do they reach out?
BBC News messaged me on Facebook and then they contact me, and then basically, because you then go onto a list with BBC, so BBC Radio Cumbria got in contact with me, and it's weird, because I'm now obviously there must be a keyword search, so if they look up HGV driver in Cumbria, they now find me. So I get if there's really bad weather coming up, if there's a big storm or cold weather or early start stuff like that, I get calls and I go on the radio.
That's amazing.
It's quite cool actually. Yeah, it's quite cool.
It is totally off topic. Well, it may not be off topic, but I've never asked you this, so I'd ask you now. With what's happened and what you've gone through, because I know there's been other scenes where you've got out and you've had to help a young lad that was in a kind of a messed up situation that you helped.
Well, that was the next one I was going to talk about, but yeah, go on.
So yeah, you can come on to that. I just wanted to know, because you've started getting into search and rescue, haven't you? Up at the lakes. Was this a part of this? Is this what's built up to this kind of thing?
Yes, it has.
You scream paramedic. You seem someone that wants to help somebody. You've got a very kind and warm heart in that. And it looks almost like you want to help people. Like when I come up to visit you to take pictures of the lakes, I was having a few hard times. Something had happened with the camera in the wind, and I got upset, and you were so comforting. And I remember saying to you at the time, you're almost like a father figure. And I don't receive that very often from people, especially lads. Lads are more like hard-faced, macho, will try and make fun of you. Whereas you are, but you've got a very soft way. There's something about you that just, I don't know, you make people feel at ease. And that's what you did to me up in the lakes. I was going through a little bit. My head was going, you know yourself, and you'll say, it's okay, we'll sort it, we'll get through this. And I did. And it's,
I don't know,
having people
just
like
that
you,
mode,
man.
isn't it?
It is. No, you're brilliant.
You look so upset when you dropped your camera. You were so. I was just like, I wanted to give you a hug a little bit. I was like, look at him, bless him, baby bugger.
It was with the new tripod as well. I think that's what it was. I just went used to that tripod, and then the wind caught it.
So, what I'll do is, how about we'll just leave that question till later, because that gets answered on the third and final fucking the nail in the coffin for my sanity. Because on that last one, that one fucking crushed me. That one did. But the second one, so I don't know if you know this or not, but like there's a look people have when something's just happened. That's bad. Do you know that look?
I don't personally know it because I've never actually witnessed out like that. There was one time last Christmas just gone. I was walking through Piccadilly Circus and there was a lady on the floor with blood coming out of her head. And I was with my children. We had to quickly divert. There was a lot of people on the floor like looking at her, but most people were just walking by her, which really upset me. Because I was like, "Why are you just carrying on with your day?" There's an elderly lady down there. But yeah, there was faces there, but I've not really seen that. Like,
it's when you see it, you'll know it. It's just people have this face, and it's so I think it was A34.
Yeah.
As M62 was the motorway I was on last time. That's not M58. I think it's M58. But yeah, so I was on the A34, and so it was this dual carriageway section, and I'd not long come out the service, or just come out the services, and as I was coming up, there was hazard lights, and there was something had happened in lane 1. And as I'm looking, I can see there's a van that's rolled quite a few times, and so I wind my window down and I shout out because there's a lorry and there's some cars, and then people have that look of just like something's just happened. This is clearly just happened.
Proper fresh.
And so I shout out the window, like, "Do you need a first aider?" And like I can hear people going, "Yeah, we need a first aider. We need a first aider." So I pull up around the front of all these vehicles again, hazards on, beacons on, all of that, and I get out. And because I've declared that I'm kind of like, in air quotations, an authority figure. Yeah. I'm like, I'm essentially a first responder, and so the whole group like starts coming towards me, and so I'm like, right, here we go. This is going to be interesting. Bear in mind, this is not my first rodeo. I've dealt with, like, you know, this is not my first time I've like dealt with a crash or something that's happened. So, you know, I'm kind of I've stopped at a few, and I was expecting, I could see the driver of the van was out, and I could see there was no signs that there was a serious injury. I could see the airbags are deployed in the van. I can see the truck that's gone into him. So I'm kind of like, at the moment, I'm fairly, I'm reasonably happy with the situation. And they come up to me and they go, "We can't find him." I'm like, my first thing is, someone been ejected from the van, and I'm like, "Who can't you find?" And they said, "The pedestrian." I'm thinking, yeah, but we're on a dual carriageway. There can't be a pedestrian. That's not. There isn't a pedestrian here. That's not. You know, there shouldn't be a pedestrian here. No. And so I said, we're on a dual carriageway. There shouldn't be a pedestrian. What we're talking about, a pedestrian? And they were like, "There's a pedestrian. There's a pedestrian." I can't see him. Like, there's no one there. So I said, right, fan out, start walking that way, start looking in the grass for him. At this point here, as far as I was concerned, there isn't a pedestrian. Yeah, no, yeah. I'm very confident in the fact there's no pedestrian, because why would there be a pedestrian there? So I go and start looking at the van driver, go and check him, start asking him questions. Have you got any pain here? Start just checking to see if any ribs broken. And someone shouts, "I found him." And I look, and this lad is best part of 10 meters from the road. Like, he is far from the road. And so I'm like, what the fuck? So I've got my first aid kit, and so I run towards him, and it's this young lad. He's just lifeless. There's blood. He's covered in blood. He's lifeless. I kneel down to start checking him over. I'm like thinking CPR.
Yeah.
And he opens his eyes and he goes, "What happened?" And I'm like, he's talking to me. He's conscious. Huh. I'm like, the fuck is going on? Like, so I start checking him all over. And as far as I can tell, he has some superficial injuries. He has some bruising. He has no broken bones. He's got no obvious signs of like spinal injuries, nothing like that. Obviously, I'm keeping him stable. I'm keeping him still until ambulance turns up or whatever like that. And I've got him stable. I've got them to kind of like prop his head. I've just got him comfortable. I put a blanket over him, just kind of keep him warm.
Yeah.
And I go and check on the driver of the van. And I'm trying to kind of gather so I can tell police what's actually happened because no one's making any sense.
Yeah.
So what's happened is the old man and this lad. The lad is his grandson.
Oh, right, okay.
So a truck driver's gone past and pointed out that the old lad has got a coffee cup on the roof of the van. He's left a coffee cup up there. So the old lad has stopped lane 1, live lane.
On a dual carriageway.
On a dual carriageway.
Is that national speed limit down there, or was it a 50 or 60?
Yeah, national speed limit. National speed limit.
Right, okay.
So he's stopped. Grandson has got out to go and get the coffee cup. Still live lane. Well, first truck has managed to swerve around it. Second truck was a freighted tipper and had no chance. And has just ploughed into the back of the bastard like. Has fucking ploughed into the back of it. So grandson was alongside the van at the time.
Yeah.
The truck has basically... The truck has picked the van up and thrown it. The van rolled so violently, there was tools from the van in the opposite side of the carriageway. That's how violently it hit it. The grandson was alongside of the van and has been picked up and has been thrown 10 metres into the air and has landed softly in the grass with no injuries, no, like, some grazes.
Wow, superhuman.
Well, when I found all this out, and we could see how bad the accident was, and so I was dealing with 3 people by this point because the granddad was starting to kind of get shock was starting to kind of kick in a little bit, and so I explained that we needed, like, we're going to need ambulance for him as well because he's going to need to go off. He was starting to kind of like there was signs that he was deteriorating. But not only that, I was also having to deal with the truck driver as well because the police hadn't turned up by this point, and I was having to explain to the truck driver that there's a chance that he might get arrested just as standard procedure.
Yeah,
because sometimes they do that with a professional driver, and just explain that if he does get arrested, don't panic too much. That's going to be normal. That's just because of the seriousness of the accident. Like I said, explaining that basically there was not really a lot he could have done in that situation. It is what it is.
Well, stopping in lane, yeah, you can't.
Yeah. It's one of them
for us guys, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So just kind of trying to explain. So I'm trying to keep him calm, trying to keep the granddad calm, and trying to get him so he sat down. I'm trying to get liquid into the granddad just so he can have like a bit of a drink and have a bit of a calm. But I'm also trying to keep the grandson calm and trying to keep him still as well. So, but there was this realization of when I looking down at lads of this is how quickly it ends.
Yeah,
you're doing something silly, and you've made some just not very good decision, and just. The silliest mistake can have the biggest of consequences, and it is just over.
Okay, it can happen in a split second, can't it?
I said to that lad, he shouldn't be alive. He shouldn't be alive. Like, he should have, like, I said tonight, you need to go and get yourself a lottery ticket because there is, you've got luck on your side tonight, lad. Yeah, that was...
Guardian angel watching over.
Oh, yeah.
I can't help but think, though, throughout all this story, how did his coffee cup stay on his van at top speed? How does that happen?
I don't know. I couldn't find the coffee cup, though,
I'm just thinking, you do see it where they've left, like, there's like, I sometimes see car chairs left on top of the cars in shopping malls or whatever. And the dad or mum drives off and they're like people shouting, but I think it was a prank. There was like a load of pranks going on with it.
Yeah.
But a coffee cup on top. I don't know how that's done. That's amazing.
No
Unless
idea.
it was a magnet one. Could have been a magnet one, like an on the tools one kind of thing.
Don't know, like, it might have been actually, yeah. Could have been.
It could have been, yeah, because they're working at heights and that.
Yeah.
So
Could have
again, you've sorted out. This is what I'm saying about it. It's in your nature. It's just in your nature to help and save others. And
I just can't. I just can't walk past someone in need. It's just not in my. It's just not in my nature.
it's not.
I don't know.
You're very. I'm like that. I can't see someone in pain. I have to try and help.
Yeah.
You know, and I'll stay there even if they're like, no, go. And sometimes you just look at the situation like, you're saying this out of anger or out of adrenaline. You do need help. We'll try and sort it for you. So what did that do to you? You've gone home that night. What do you do?
I think I was still kind of okay by this point. I think I was still. It did leave me feeling me. It was the fact that it had, the realization. It was kind of like it was a very kind of like, very striking moment of like, this is your mortality. This is how quickly you can die. Yeah,
that realization,
yeah.
I get that.
Yeah, it was, I don't know, it was one of them things. But then there was the third one, and the third one was the one that genuinely fucked me up. Fuck. By the way, there's a chance I might cry telling this story. So just be aware of that. If I do, we're just gonna roll with it. Pretend it didn't happen. Yay, trauma. Woo, so exciting. Can't wait to tell this story. Love this one. Fuck. Right.
You'll be all right, Tom. There's plenty of listeners on here that, honestly, they've gone through so much stuff. Anything, I want to thank you on behalf of all the listeners for being vulnerable and open and honest on this platform. It does help other people. Whether you believe it or not, you're being a hero right now by speaking out. Because there is somebody out there now listening that is actually suffering in silence. In their room, they've got nowhere to turn, nobody to talk to. The health service are overburdened with work. They can't catch up because of what had happened prior, with the lockdowns. There's a lot of people out there, mate, going unanswered. So these stories like this do urge people to stand up and get the help that they need.
Right, let's get this story done.
That's my friend.
So, M6. Fucking love the M6. Oh, it's always so much fun, the M6. There's always something happening, isn't there?
Yeah.
I was northbound coming on at junction 16. And the boards were listed at 20 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And that's not normal.
No.
If it's like 20, I've seen a 10 mile an hour before as well, but if it's 20 or 10, summits, not only is something happened, but the controllers have seen something as well, so it's been confirmed that something's happened.
So this is just after Stoke.
This is the Stoke exit, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm heading northbound, and obviously it's 4 lanes. So as I'm coming on, I can see a Royal Mail in lane 4, which there shouldn't be a Royal Mail in lane 4 because it's
restricted vehicles or whatever.
It's a truck, so it shouldn't be in lane 4. And so I was like, so I just thought, I'm just going to go and check. So I come right across, get into lane 3, and as I'm kind of approaching him, I can see the driver on the phone, and again, he has that look, just that trauma, like shit's gone down look. So I come right across into lane 4 with my beacons on, hazards on, all that shit. And then as I'm kind of like getting towards the Royal Mail truck, I kind of swing out. So my trailer stays in lane 4 and my cab is now in lane 3.
Right.
So basically I've kind of taken up both lanes. And it basically gives me a safe area to work in so I can kind of do everything. There's no emergency vehicles. There's nothing like that. I can tell he's on the phone to emergency services. And so the driver's like, he's in such a panic. And I'm like, it's all right. Don't worry. Just so I get the driver just to sit down. And I look down the front of the truck, and there's a car on the front of it, to which I thought that's I thought sometimes it's what I call tapping out. It's basically where it's like a pit maneuver for like on a truck where the truck hits the back end of the car and the car just gently slides around onto the front of the truck, and then the truck starts pushing it like along. You've seen the videos of like trucks pushing cars. That's basically how it's happened. It just kind of taps the car out and it's coming.
And is this the Royal Mail truck?
It's the Royal Mail truck that's done that, yeah. And so I get him to sit down, and as I'm walking towards the car, I just think I'm gonna make a bit of a joke because they're gonna be a bit frazzled, but they're gonna be okay because it doesn't happen at like the actual. It can happen at speed, but for that to have happened, the vehicle in relation to the Royal Mail truck wasn't going much faster. And so as I'm getting there, the driver's kind of like, I open the door and the driver starts getting out, and the driver initially appeared to be drunk, but he's foreign, so I can't quite work out what he's saying to me. And so I get him to kind of just get out and just sit down next to the car.
Yeah.
And I put my head in the car and
all right.
Yeah, give me a second. Sorry, give me a second, Mike.
That's all right, mate.
I did tell you I was calling.
That's okay.
The woman's head was, she's clearly snapped the neck. There was a panic that came over me, and I was just like, I didn't really kind of fully know what to do at that situation because my training with first aid is if someone's got a snapped neck, you have to stabilize that neck. You cannot move it. But she's making this noise. She can't breathe. She's making this noise, and I've never heard anything like it before, and I never care to. It was something else. Like, was that? That's something I'll take with me to my grave. It was, it was something else. Was that? That was fucking horrific. Yeah, and so I'm like
shivers through my body. That was, mate.
So I'm trying to work out the situation. I'm trying to work out what to do. I'm trying to kind of like figure out how the fuck I'm supposed to kind of. This is a situation I don't know how to deal with. And so there was this lad from a gas company. He was one of the first people to stop, apart from me. Hardly anyone. All these car drivers were driving past, and no one was stopping for this lad. And so this guy, and I said, "You're going to have to just try and get a neck. Just try and have to kind of we need to not move her neck, but we need to try and clear her airway best we can." So I got him to hold it, but I need to be on her side of the vehicle. But obviously the vehicle was the truck was still against the side of the truck, and so I asked what's the Royal Mail driver? I need the keys. I need to move the truck backwards. So I've got in the truck and I moved it backwards away from the vehicle so I can have better access. And as I'm walking to the front of the truck, I look and her hair is in the grill of the truck. And I realise whatever's happened, the impact is significantly more violent than what I'd realised. And yeah, it wasn't what I thought originally. And at that point there, I realised I've also messed up because I've just got the driver out, and I suddenly started to think he's not drunk. I think he's got head injuries. I think they've hit each other's heads in the car, and so I'm now trying to deal with the situation of I have just made a colossal mistake here. wildly misjudged this situation, and I'm now have to try and regain control of the situation and try to kind of like, so I'm trying to keep this guy sat and not moving on the ground. I'm trying to kind of keep this woman who can't breathe, and I'm just in a panic. This is beyond whatever training I've received. This is like this is this is like worst case scenario shit. Like, so we're just trying to keep her. Anyways, the paramedics, thank fuck, turned up, and it was not long before the helimed turned up as well. That started blocking the road, and at that point there, they were treating it as a fatality. So they were treating it as a fatality, and so we all sat down on the motorway. We were sat in lane 2 of the motorway, and we were just like me and this lad and someone else who'd stopped. We were just having a bit of a crack on the motorway. Police would come occasionally come and just check on us, stuff like that. But I couldn't move my truck because my truck was on evidence.
Yeah,
because obviously it's stopped.
It's also good for blocking oncoming vehicles as well, I suppose.
Well, the motorway on both sides was completely shut by this point. We were literally we were sat in lane 2.
So
I've got pictures of being sat in lane 2. It's yeah, and
yeah, those sort of pictures will bring back trauma, I'd imagine, as well, Tom.
So I was fine. It was after the hours of being there. My boss called me up and he asked me, like, "Am I okay?" And that's when I broke down, just crying, like, and I had to stop at that point there because I realised, no, I'm not. But just to kind of explain what had actually happened, the situation. So another truck so this car was in lane 1. Another truck had merged into lane 1 and hit this car. This car had just spun and veered off at 90 degrees. Royal Mail was in lane 3, overtaking the truck that had gone into lane 1.
Yeah.
And was now faced with a car just coming straight across in front of him. So he's tried to get into lane 4 to try and get away from the car, but obviously the car's going right.
Yeah.
And he's just ploughed into it at 56 miles an hour. Like, he's
side
just
on, and that's all the hair then.
It. So, yeah. So she's basically like, yeah, she's her head has hit the front grille of the truck. That's why her hair was stuck in it. So her head's gone through the glass.
Yeah.
Into the thing. I'll be honest with you. For the longest time, I thought I'd killed her. I thought I was responsible for her dying. It wasn't until like a couple of years later when I got a phone call off her solicitor asking for like me to like call them up and like kind of give a statement so they can kind of help her out with the insurance stuff, and that's when I found out she's actually alive. I didn't know up until that point. I actually thought I killed her.
Have you spoken to her? She said out to you for that?
No. She's had life-changing injuries, like life-changing. Like you can't hit the front of your head can't hit the front of a truck and you come out of that okay. Like no.
It's sending shivers up me because I know exactly where this is. If you're saying the Stoke, I know the bit because a truck nearly went into me. Because when you're in that inside lane going over the bridge, it then turns into 4 lanes where the Vosa guy sits. And that's the come over bit, isn't it? Is that what you're on about? And you got the Matrix deadly in front of it, like right in front. Or is it further up towards Sandbach?
So this is just after all of that. This is where it goes from 3 lanes
to 4,
and then the on ramp becomes lane 4.
Yeah,
so that's why the truck was moving over into that new lane as such.
Yeah,
and he hadn't.
It's a dangerous lane, though. That
it was a drive off as well. He hit the car, and he'd driven off. They caught him apparently, but yeah, it was a drive off.
I
Don't know what
rough,
happened
man.
to the driver though. I don't know what he got charged with, but there you go.
That's rough, Tom.
There
Thanks
you
for
go.
being open and vulnerable on here, mate. Honestly,
The point I
I don't know how
realised
I
I
could
had.
continue with that. I don't think I could carry on driving truck. Fair play to you, mate. You got bigger minerals than me.
No, I think I'm just dumber.
You're not dumber. You're not dumber. I imagine everybody listening to this right now, if they get in any trouble, they'd want a Tom to be there.
You know what? I was talking to my ex. This is actually after we split, and we were talking about this guy that she was dating, and like she was talking about something that had happened, and she said something, I can't fully remember, but she said something about like she had said something. It feels really guilty about it, and I fully, and I had the kids in the back of the car, and we were like, I was almost dropping them off like at the house.
Yeah.
And I fully broke down in tears, and I had to get out of the car so the lads didn't see me. And I think that it was that point there when I realised, oh shit, because it took me a while to kind of accept that I had PTSD from that, because I didn't feel like I deserved that, because it wasn't something that to me, PTSD is when you witness something directly, not indirectly. That's what PTSD is to me. And it was at that point there I actually was like, oh, I actually do have like, yeah, there is shit.
Post-traumatic.
Oh yeah,
you can. It does. A lot of people. So the word PTSD more or less comes along mostly for war veterans or army soldiers and that kind of
this is
like.
it, yeah.
But it actually does affect. You're still a human being, whether you're an army soldier or a fireman or the local guy down the park. If you see something that's not the norm, that sort of makes the hairs stand up on your back, and it's different. Of course, you can. You have flashbacks of that moment. You know, anything that you see horrific. There was a story the other week. I don't know if you've seen this, and it put hairs on the back of my shoulders. My missus told me this, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, no. There was this young guy who called the police. Right, this was freaky. This was, and I still don't. I'll research it after this just to put the link in the description because I think people would want to see this. The young lad rings up the dispatcher, and the dispatcher basically says, "Hi, how can I help?" I think it was 999. What's your emergency? Something like that. It was. And the young lad says, "Oh, it's for me. I'm hurt." And the lady says, "Right, are you okay, or what's happened here?" "Well, I fell over the train tracks." And she's like, "Right, okay. What's happened?" He says, "Where's your injury?" "I've got no legs." Fell over. The train has chopped his legs off, and he's talking. He's speaking to the operator, and this operator. How? He's lost his. I've lost my legs, and that moment when he said that, you heard it over the radio. I've lost my legs. I need help. The shivers just went. Whoa.
Yeah.
That's post-traumatic distress for the officer as well that's arriving on scene. He's seeing that because he's perhaps thinking of his own children in that situation, or his wife or loved ones, or himself. Any help for that, Tom? Have you spoke to anybody like professionally about the stuff that you've gone through? Because the young lad that's trying to jump off, you've saved. The young lad, the grandson that's been thrown. This third one. I imagine there's more that you've witnessed. Have you actually spoken professionally about any of it to try and for yourself, basically?
No. Sorry, I know that you want to hear that, but I'll be honest with you. It was Kale.
Yeah, she's helped you a lot, hasn't she? You two together are amazing.
She has been my help. She's been my rock. She's been just what I needed. I don't think I would be as okay as I am now if it wasn't for her. No, let me correct that. I know for a fact I wouldn't have been. Like she has been, yeah.
She's amazing.
She's been what I needed.
Yeah, she is amazing. Like, we all love
she's
Kale,
a dickhead. God, fuck me, I love her.
She's brilliant. She's brilliant. I love her to bits. And again, congratulations on your engagement. So
I feel like it. I feel like for what she's done for me, I feel like it was the least I could do.
Well, to be honest with you, I really actually, with how sad this episode's been, with what you've had to go through, shall we end it on a high? And tell us about the engagement. What did you get on one knee and all of that?
I did. Hey, I did.
Did you?
I weren't sure if I was going to get back up again. Fucking the knees aren't as young as they once were, lads.
Hey, can I have a bit of help, please, lads? Just help me up.
I actually did it all. I did it all properly. I even asked for permission as well, like that. Genuinely, I did it all fully, properly, as proper as it can be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Play. And where'd you do this? In Cyprus? Was it on a beach or where was it? Like, were you walking around or on a beach or?
It was up a mountain. There's a particular mountain where we can go and watch the sunset. Yeah. And it's just a beautiful view, and it was there. It's just like a special. It's like a special place for us. It was either that, or I was going to do it on these. I did say this on the podcast last night. On the there's like a dock, like a pier, but it's like all wooden slats. I was like, oh yeah, that ring's falling down there. That ring's definitely falling down there. I'm going to drop that shit, and it's going to go down, and it's going to be bad times. And
that's the anxiety in it. See, I get anxiety for people when they put the rings in food or a drink, and I'm like, well, what if they drink it?
Yeah.
Can get it back.
No, I couldn't do that shit.
Great
couldn't
gesture,
do that shit.
But it's not. This is going to go wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, amazing, boy. Gone through a lot, ain't you, boy? You're the person you are today.
Well, when you put yourself in these stupid situations, that's what fucking happens.
Hey, if you don't, who else would? That's the way I look at it. You was there. You're the right man for the job.
I try to be the right man for the job. I don't know if I am, but...
Search and rescue. You're going to be doing all of that with your missus as well, are you?
Search and rescue is something I want to do. Right. But I'll be honest with you, the reason why I want to do search and rescue is because of how helpless I felt that day. Yeah.
But you weren't helpless. She was there talking to them, comforting them until the paramedics arrived. So you don't give yourself a lot of credit where it's needed, I think. I think you hold back a little bit, and I think you do need credit.
I don't think I do.
The situation was the situation. They would have been left there on their own with nobody to talk to, perhaps really scared, not knowing, and to see a friendly face like yourself, perhaps give them that hope that they needed.
I'll pat yourself on the back. I tried.
I'll pat you on the back through my back. That's for you.
I don't require that. Thank you, though. But I don't.
I'll see you soon anyway, so I'll give you a hug.
Yeah. You can always give me a hug, right? I'm always happy with that.
We like the hugs. All right, is there anything you want to shout out? Obviously, just another trucking podcast.
Yeah, if you want to go and listen to something with me in it, where I talk absolute dog shit, I mean more dog shit than what I did today.
But it's fun.
Go listen to that.
It is fun. You've got games on there, haven't you? We played games. I dressed up last night like an idiot.
You did. You dressed like Prince. Go and check that out. That's wild.
Dressed up like Prince.
And go and check out my OnlyFans, where I do foot pictures. Could you imagine if that was the genuine ending to this?
Mate,
that's a joke, by the way.
He walked away from $50, but started his own enterprise called
I realised how much money there was in feet. So, yeah.
And are you still doing anything? Is there anything else you want to shout out? Anything else you still do?
I have not updated my YouTube channel in so long. It's demonetized. It's been so long now.
That's it.
You can go check it out anyways if you want to, but I don't get paid for it anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, if you wanted to see some of his trucking skills, because there is some great videos on there, especially when you've got the one I like is with Zoe behind you, and it's really tight, like to the point where I'm like, "Whoa, this is close. This is close."
It's a bit never.
This is it. Go check it out, people. Except for access on YouTube.
Go and check it out.
All right, guys. Ciao for now. Thanks for joining us today. I've been Jermaine, he's been Tom, and this is still worth the journey. Remember, if there is anything you're going through that's quite hard and you feel like your time's coming up, just remember, you're still worth the journey. Keep moving. Take care, guys.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.